The bells of San Verano tolled in the distance, their iron tongues rolling across the stone walls of Aragon's grandest castle. Inside its cold chambers, Isabel de Alarcón lived like a ghost. 7 years had passed since her wedding day, 7 years of being a wife in name but a stranger in truth. Her husband, Duke Alejandro de Vera, had married her not out of love, but for treaty and alliance. She was the daughter of a powerful Castilian house, brought into his home with the weight of dowries and titles. On that wedding night, he had kissed her hand with courtesy, led her into the hall, and then disappeared into duty, council, and campaigns. What followed was silence. Isabel's footsteps became whispers in corridors once meant for laughter. She ate her suppers alone, save for the hollow company of tapestries and candlelight. Servants spoke of her as one speaks of a forgotten relic. "The Duchess walks again," they murmured, as though she were an omen rather than mistress of the house. Alejandro did not scorn her openly, nor was he cruel. He simply withheld himself. For 7 long years he treated her presence as one might treat the presence of a portrait, acknowledged, but untouched, unloved. And so Isabel poured her heart into the gardens. Roses bloomed where her laughter once had. Lilies stood in rows where her dreams had faded. She trimmed, planted, nurtured, until the soil itself seemed her only confidant. But a woman's heart cannot be buried forever. And fate, that merciless sculptor of destinies, had other plans. It began on a spring morning when a bouquet arrived. The messenger wore crimson livery, the seal of Valencia pressed upon the wax. Servants exchanged curious looks as Isabel accepted the parcel. Within, velvet ribbon, immaculate paper, and blossoms of white camellia laced with red carnations. Their fragrance was sweet, intoxicating, a language of desire long denied. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the note tucked within. For the Duchess of Aragon, whose beauty the years cannot dim. From one who remembers. The signature was bold, unapologetic, Don Ramiro de Alvar, Marquis of Valencia. Isabel's breath caught. Ramiro. A man she had once known at court before her marriage, a man of charm and reckless warmth, whose eyes had lingered on hers too long, whose hand had brushed against hers at dances with the deliberate boldness of youth. That was years ago. He had been exiled from court for defying the king, banished to Valencia's distant estates. Yet here was his name, his flowers, his memory reaching across 7 years of silence to touch her heart again. She pressed the bouquet to her chest, though terror and longing warred within. To be seen after years of invisibility was a wound and a balm all at once. But what Isabel did not know, what no one knew, was that Alejandro the Duke saw the bouquet first. He had returned from a council meeting, weary, armored by indifference, when the servant carried the flowers past him. At first he paid them no heed. Then his gaze caught the ribbon, the seal, the name. Ramiro de Alvar. The name stung like steel driven under his skin. Alejandro paused in the corridor, his hand tightening on the carved banister. His heart, dormant for so many years, thundered with a savage force he scarcely recognized. Jealousy, raw, primal, consuming, ignited where once there had been only cold restraint. 7 years he had ignored her. 7 years he had convinced himself she was merely alliance, duty, shadow. But to see her adorned with another man's flowers, to imagine her fingers caressing petals chosen by another, it was unbearable. For the first time in 7 years, the Duke remembered his wife not as treaty or title, but as a woman. The following evening, Isabel dressed carefully for supper, unaware that Alejandro had ordered the servants to summon her. She entered the dining hall expecting solitude, as always, but found him there, waiting. The long table was set for 2, though only a single candelabra burned between them. Shadows danced across Alejandro's face, sharp and unreadable. "You received flowers today," he said at last, his voice low, edged with something that made her pulse race. She froze, fingers brushing the chair's carved armrest. "Yes, my lord." From Ramiro de Alvar. He tasted the name like venom. "Yes. Do you know what the camellia means, Isabel?" His dark eyes fixed on hers. "It means longing." "And the red carnation?" "It means a beating heart in chains." Her breath faltered. "You speak as though flowers are weapons." "They are when they are sent to my wife." His words rang like steel unsheathed. For years she had dreamed of such a confrontation. Any sign that he felt something, anything, even if it was anger. But now, standing in its fire, she trembled. "You have not looked at me in 7 years, Alejandro," she whispered, the words spilling from her with years of repression. "Do you fault me if another man remembers I exist?" Her voice cracked, and silence flooded the hall. Alejandro rose slowly, the chair scraping stone. His hand rested on the table's edge, veins taut with restraint. He crossed to her, each step deliberate, until he stood so close she could smell the faint scent of leather and steel clinging to him. "You were always mine, Isabel," he said. "Yours." Her laugh was bitter, trembling. What is a wife to a man who never touches her, never speaks, never sees her? Am I yours, Alejandro, or merely your alliance? Her defiance struck him like a blade. For years he had told himself it was mercy to keep her distant, to spare her from the storm of his own past, his own darkness. But in truth, it had been cowardice. And now the sight of another man daring to claim even a corner of her heart ignited something he could not suppress. His hand lifted, hesitated, then cupped her face. Her lips parted in shock, for his touch was fire and ice all at once, so unfamiliar, so dangerous. "Forgive me," he whispered, voice hoarse. "I was a fool." She tried to step back, but his presence drew her in like gravity. "Alejandro, I cannot bear the thought of him touching you. I cannot bear the thought of you belonging to anyone but me." Her pulse hammered as his thumb brushed her cheek. She should have pulled away, but 7 years of longing unraveled her resolve. Tears welled in her eyes as her body betrayed her, leaning into his touch, craving what she had been denied for so long. And then, his lips claimed hers. The kiss was not gentle. It was fierce, desperate, the kiss of a man starved and suddenly ravenous. She gasped, her hands pressing against his chest, meaning to resist, yet her fingers curled into his doublet instead. 7 years of silence dissolved in a single stolen breath. When he broke away, his forehead pressed to hers, his voice was raw. "He cannot have you. No one can. You are mine, Isabel. Mine." She closed her eyes, torn between fury and surrender. "You cannot awaken me only because another man dares to see me." Alejandro drew back, shame flickering in his eyes. "Then let me prove it is more than jealousy." And for the first time, the Duke of Aragon, proud, unyielding, untouchable, fell to his knees before her.